I want you to visit the most awe-inspiring ancient mountain Acropolis there is. So welcome back to Near From Home's Turkish road trip of ruins as we brave these lofty heights to get you inspired for your next trip. But we aren't done yet. We'll be topping it all off with a Roman cult temple to Egyptian gods and the medical school where Marcus Aurelius's personal physician went to study. Yeah, you could say this itinerary is pretty jam-packed and you're gonna love it. But first, we need to get there with a lovely 1-hour drive from our base in Ayvalık to our ancient destination.
Not bad, huh? Welcome to the modern Turkish city of Bergama on the foothills of the ancient city of Pergamon. Now, I've given this site an entire day of my itinerary. Why? Well, it is very extensive. Not just the massive Acropolis above me, no. There are sites interspersed all throughout Bergama itself. We're gonna have to be driving all around the places. I think it might not be the most walkable. For the first site of the day though, what could possibly be better than the Acropolis, where we'll get to see some of the most amazing ruins and get a good lay of the land for everything else we're gonna be seeing later. And for that, we've driven just outside of town to the cable car complex. This thing was running when I got here and it's been paused ever since I started talking to you guys. So wish me luck. Let's go see an Acropolis. The tickets cost 70 lira one way and 100 for both ways. Not a bad deal, but I went with the one-way ticket because I'm going to force myself to walk back down this bad boy. Can't be lazy twice a day, can ya? Feeling a little nervous?
Yeah, last time we were on a cable car, it stopped, like, in the middle. I've been a little bit disappointed. Like,
oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah.
Can you even walk up here?
I don't know.
Fucking, like, fences in the path.
Well, they didn't exactly check our ticket as we came in, so I'm pretty sure we could just come down if we wanted to. It's a pretty quiet and comfortable ride, but I think we're the only people on the entire lift system, and they just didn't even bother checking our tickets, so that doesn't fill me with the most confidence. But we're almost there now, so no worries. Now that we're up here, it's time to buy a ticket, or as followers of this Turkish series will know, it isn't. You see, I bought this museum card back in Istanbul for 600 liras, and at every single museum we've been going to, I've been considering it a personal challenge to knock off the ticket price, keep a counter going for you guys to see if I can break even or better. So let's deduct another 60 lira from the price, see how we're doing, and get on inside. I'll tell you one thing though, this wind is brutal. Hope I don't lose my hat. This site is incredible, and I'm so glad I did plenty of research before coming here because there is a long and storied history to be found atop these hills. Now, I'm no history teacher, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but I would definitely recommend that you do plenty of reading on this place, or better yet, spring for a guided tour if you want to. I think it'd be well worth it. But don't worry, it wouldn't be a Near From Home video if I didn't tell you all of my favorite facts and observations as we walk around, so let's get to it. You know, in a way, this might actually not be my first trip to Pergamon ever. I mean, if you've ever been to Berlin, you might know that on their museum Insel, the museum island, they have the Pergamon Museum, most notably with the Great Pergamon altar, which truly is a marvel. So much so, they actually reference the thing in the book of Revelations in the Bible, calling it Satan's seat. Bit weird, but cool. And I mean, quite frankly, it would be nice for that altar to be here, at least in my humble opinion. I mean, it definitely has a lot more to do with this hill than it does all of the raves in Berlin, so one wonders why it's still there. But hey, I am glad I've gotten to see both. Seeing it in its glory in Berlin and the foundation and the context here has been terrific. It is so lovely here when it's not windy, but when it gusts, ooh, it gives me a bit of vertigo. I could forgive you for mistaking the architecture you see behind me for being a truly great hallway between the mighty temple and the emperor's palace, but you'd be entirely incorrect. This is substructure. The unsexy engineering that everybody loves to forget about, but everybody greatly benefits from. And yeah, it might actually be my favorite part of this whole Acropolis. You see, one of the real difficulties of the gargantuan Acropolis above us is the fact that we're on a massive hill, right? It's sheer on all sides but one, and that doesn't leave you much stable footing for a great temple. So what the engineers had to do was create these massive terraces, and to support those terraces, they created these incredible beams and chambers. Honestly, inspiring engineering. Now, I'm no newcomer to the nosebleeds. I've sat in them plenty before, but never before have I sat in the nosebleeds of antiquity. If you watched the last video where we checked out the ruins of Assos, you'll know I had kind of a sunset moment in their amphitheater looking out over the sea, and it was beautiful. But I'm having a much harder time being comfortable in this amphitheater, mostly because we're so high up, it's so steep, and there's so much wind that I am getting a little bit of vertigo. In fact, this is one of, if not the steepest amphitheater of antiquity, which is a pretty cool claim to fame. And not only that, but this bad boy could hold 10,000, double that of Assos. It really is something special. But like I said, a little vertigo inducing. Okay, so please forgive me on this one, but given how truly windy it was up there, I didn't really feel like hiking back down. So we took the cable car back, no worries. They didn't mind upgrading our ticket. They were super chill about everything. So yeah, now we're back on solid ground. It's still windy, but not nearly as much. And yeah, we missed out on a few sights down the hill, which is a bit sad, but there are so many more in Bergama. Let's get to them. Next up is the Red Basilica, or the Red Hall, a Roman-era temple to the Egyptian gods Isis and Serapis. It's also 12.5 lira for a ticket, but not for me. Let's deduct it from the museum pass. Now maybe I'm admitting my own ignorance here, but honestly that doesn't really bother me. I travel to learn and not the other way around, but I'll tell you, when I set out to come to Turkey, when I was crafting that itinerary, I never expected to end up in a cult temple to Egyptian gods. And in fact, thanks to generous donations, they've been able to rework a bunch of the granite and marble to recreate one of the load-bearing idol columns, specifically the one to the Egyptian god Sekhmet, the lion goddess. And she looks good. There are also some adorable kittens here too, which feels very appropriate for an Egyptian temple. There's also a bit of very important Christian history here too, if you don't mind it being a little bit gruesome. As they say, in 92 AD, the Bishop of Pergamon got into a very deadly row with the Egyptian god worshippers here for Serapis. It ended quite badly when he became one of the first Christian martyrs when they burned him alive in a bronze bull. Yeah. It's pretty rough. And so to me at least, getting to be in a place where these two, in my mind at least, very distant cultures came clashing together, I just think that's really cool. So last up in our tour of Bergama and the Pergamon ancient city is the Asclepieion, the Temple of Healing. It's located just outside of the town, so we've kind of had to dart around. It'll cost us 55 Turkish lira to get in, or at least it would if we didn't have the museum card. So let's drop another 55 down, let's get inside, let's get healthy. Now I should probably tell you what this place actually is. The Asclepieion is a sanctuary, a large temple dedicated to the god of healing, Asclepius. But to get to the sanctuary, you actually have to pass down what would have once been an 820-meter long column-lined promenade. And what's left of it is still rather breathtaking, if you do ask me. Though I can't even imagine almost a full kilometer of it. Boggles the mind. And yet again, for like the 90th time on this trip, I have underestimated the size of a site and come here at sunset. Everything's closing quite early, 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 if you're really lucky. And so yeah, we're gonna have to speed run this place a little bit. I mean, we have an hour, but to me this place needs more. And personally, I also find the history here incredibly compelling. And if I may be a little bit of a nerd for a second, I listen a lot to a medical history podcast. And one name that always comes up is Galen, perhaps the most famous physician in all of ancient Rome, the personal physician to Marcus Aurelius himself. And this is where he studied. Incredible. And once you get into the sanctuary itself, it continues to be incredibly impressive. Not only do we have even more fantastic columns, but there's an amazing amphitheater in the back as well. They say the springs here will heal you, but I'm not jumping in that bath anytime soon. But I'll tell you one thing, I would gladly grab a show at that amphitheater. It looks awesome. Though I imagine this amphitheater behind me was used for far more than just entertainment. I bet you they were taking their lectures here too. I mean, so many famous physicians studied here in this temple, and not a bad place to go to class, huh? One detail I also want to point out is if you look at the stairs, they're a whole lot more ornate than any of the other amphitheaters we've been going to. And at sunset, the view of Pergamon from this promenade, top notch. And I think in terms of this video, we are good. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope you're inspired to come out to Pergamon. I don't think enough people are coming here. It's tourist known, but clearly not enough. Just based off of the infrastructure, they could definitely do with quite a bit more of your tourism money, and they darn well deserve it with the amazing ruins and sites that they have here. But for now then, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Here's a sneak peek of what's coming up next on our Turkish coastal road trip.